Pre-Janmashtami Bash sessions to understand the essence of the upcoming festival, Sri Krishna Janmashtami, through various uh, understandings as per the Vedic scriptures, and how we can relate to the festival and uh, understand the relevance in the particular times. So, for today's session, we have the topic Nature's Celebrations. So, for that, we have a speaker for the session today, Sri Vigrahadasa, and hand over it to you, sir.
Thank you, Santosh. Let's begin with a few prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all of you once again for today's Pre-Janmashtami Bash discussion. So, from the past 3 days, 2 days, we have been discussing various aspects connected with the Janmashtami festival, which is coming up on 30th of this month. Now, Janmashtami, as we discussed before, uh, Krishna and Janmashtami, they have a universal implication. Krishna himself, the word itself means the all attractive. Sarvam karshati iti Krishna. So, when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, there are descriptions, beautiful descriptions in the Vedic scriptures about how nature celebrated the appearance of Lord Krishna. In fact, one interesting thing that you could note, in fact, I would ask this question to all of you. Do you observe a close connection between Indian festivals and nature? Can you give a few examples? Who would like to share your opinion on this before I speak about it? Anyone would like to speak? Nirbhai, would you like to speak?
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I think the best example would be Holi, because the time that we celebrate Holi, the spring season starts.
Yes,
So I think that is a very good coincidence that happens, because as we all know, we enjoy the spring season more than anything else, more than any other season, because it's not too hot, not too cold, not too dry.
yes,
Everything is just starting to blossom again. So yeah.
yes, very nice. And so our ancients have designed festivals keeping the seasonal changes in mind, right? So we have a festival to celebrate every season, like Nirbhai mentioned about Holi, the spring season. So earlier they used to prepare colors using natural materials available in nature, not with chemicals. And that's how they celebrated the coming of the spring season joyfully, isn't it? Okay, anyone else would like to comment on this? Any other observations about
Sir, Sai Krishna here. Good evening.
this? Yes,
Um,
I. Uh,
yes, sir. Like we celebrate festivals like here in my place, Pongal festival, obviously, and Sankranti in the Telugu places. That is a harvesting festival, obviously. So I think
yes,
that connects to nature the most, which I have seen.
correct, correct. So they celebrate in nature, if I'm not wrong. In Tamil Nadu, they go out to the fields. The newly harvested grains are all piled up, and from those grains, pongal is prepared in nature, around in open place, and that's a wonderful way to celebrate nature, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. In fact, why I'm saying this is because nature has a very great role to play in Indian festivals. Not only in Indian festivals, in our day to day life, isn't it? In that way, if you see, the Vedic culture has always been how to live in harmony with nature. And you take the gifts given by nature, enjoy your life, but also show your respect, gratitude to nature. And in that way, there is a nice exchange between us and nature. How to lead a nature-centric life, natural life, that has always been the thought process in the Vedic culture. And when we do good to nature, nature is just like an echo. It is just like a reflection of what we do, isn't it? We'll come to that later. So I was talking about the beautiful descriptions given in the Vedic scriptures regarding how nature celebrated the appearance of Lord Krishna. It is described in the Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna did not appear by force like us. Now we appear, we accept a material body under the influence of what is called as karma, the laws of karma. Based on our activities in the past, nature gives us a body, and we have to accept those body, whatever body is given to us by nature. Under natural laws, we are all bound. But Lord Krishna is the controller or the master of nature, of material nature. Therefore, Lord Krishna appears, whenever he appears in this material world, he does so out of his own sweet will. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Bhagavad Gita also talks about this. So the Lord comes out of his own pleasure, and when he appears, definitely he is the master of the entire nature. Therefore, nature arranges itself in a very auspicious manner. Just like if the president of a particular country is visiting a friendly country, another country, an ally, they have good ties, let's say two countries have good ties, then you see that the the host country makes all varieties of arrangements so that there are so that there is some nice feeling created, isn't it? Some showering of flowers and some varieties of festoons and all those decorations and many other things, right? We always see how one leader visits another country and how he is received and all those things. Now imagine the Supreme Lord, God Himself, is descending to this world, and this world is just uh, His own energy, manifestation of His own energy. Everything in this world happens according to His direction. In the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse number 10, Lord Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadviparivartate. Lord Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena, under my superintendence, Prakriti works and produces wonderful things, both moving and non-moving entities. By its rule, this is manifested again and again, this material world. So, imagine when the Supreme Lord, the Master of nature, is descending, the nature also will celebrate, isn't it? So, what are some of the things that nature, positive things that nature displayed when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago? First of all, it is said that all the constellations, they arranged themselves in the most auspicious manner. Auspicious signs, auspicious stars were visible in the sky, especially the star known as Rohini, which is one of the most auspicious stars, became visible. And people, when they observed this, they became overjoyed. They became very happy. The entire atmosphere, which was still then filled with fear of King Kamsa, now all of a sudden transformed itself into an atmosphere of peace, prosperity, and happiness in all directions. The atmosphere or the nature heralded the appearance of God. That's something very interesting. And everything became auspicious in all directions. And it is said that in all towns and villages and in all pasturing grounds, there were signs of good fortune. The cows were very happily grazing, and they were very happily giving a lot of milk, more than the normal. That is something very special which happened. And all of a sudden, everybody's minds became filled with peace, happiness, and they felt some great joy. They felt something special. For no reason. They didn't know, but still, their minds became filled with joy. In fact, with connection with this mind and the cows, there is a special name for Krishna called as Govinda. Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the senses, the mind, and also to the cows. Go means senses, go also means mind. That means with appearance of Lord Krishna, all the fear and negativity that was created by King Kamsa, it vanished, and happiness, peace, and peacefulness became established in the minds of people, and even the cows became overjoyed. And it is also described that in the forests, there were some interesting things that happened. The rivers, they started flowing with full of water. All the rivers were full of water, and the lakes were filled with beautiful lotus flowers during Krishna's appearance. Everywhere you see joy, nature is also celebrating. Forests were full of beautiful birds and peacocks, especially. All the birds were singing with melodious tunes. They were singing, they were happy. They also could perceive that something is happening. You see, some interesting thing is, whenever some catastrophe happens on this planet, there are certain animals which can sense it. I have read it somewhere, according to even scientific findings. Certain animals are able to make out when an earthquake is going to happen well in advance, and they move themselves to safer places, right? Earthquakes or something like that. In the same, that means animals are very close to nature. So whatever something wonderful is going to happen in nature, animals and plants, animals and birds, they actually know it and they respond accordingly. That's what is described here. There is nothing exaggeration that is described in the Vedic scriptures. So all the birds, they were singing melodiously, sweet tunes, and all the peacocks, they opened up their feathers and they were dancing very nicely in the forest. They could sense that some very auspicious thing is happening now, and they danced. And it is said everywhere wind blew very pleasantly, and it carried the aroma of sweet smelling flowers. And everyone's mind became full of joy. And it is also said that the Devatas, the denizens of the heavenly kingdom, they became so overjoyed, they became so happy that they started showering flowers. There was a rain of flowers. It's called Pushpa Vrishti. These all things happened when Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Now, just contrary to this, the same Vedic scriptures also describe what happens when a demoniac person takes birth in this world. For example, there were demons like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and such demons. When they took birth, the descriptions are just the opposite. There were rains of blood, rains of bones, flesh, and pus, and there were howls, crying, dogs and wolves crying, howling, and everybody's mind became disturbed. when these demoniac personalities appeared. But when Lord Krishna appeared, the description says that there was completely auspiciousness throughout. Everybody became at once fearless, even though they were under the atrocities of King Kamsa. Somehow they became fearless, they became peaceful. So this heralded the appearance of the most auspicious personality, that is Lord Krishna. So that is how we see nature, uh, you know, nature and our festivals. Nature also celebrated the appearance of Lord Krishna. That is one interesting thing. Now, one more question I would like to ask. Do you feel nature reflects our activities? Can you give some examples? Who would like to speak on this? I was telling you that nature is like an echo. What you say, it comes back to you. Do you feel this? That there is a strong connection between our activities and how the way nature responds to us? Can anyone throw some light on this? Who would like to speak? Don't worry, whatever you feel, you can say. Whatever you are feeling, please share with us. I just want this session not to be boring and monotonous. I feel only if I keep speaking, it's so boring. I want to hear from you as well. Who would like to throw some light on this? Okay, let me choose. Let me pick and choose now. Mayank, would you like to speak, please?
Uh, Prabhu, I think that's sure that nature is reflecting, but I don't know how it is reflecting.
Okay, but you feel yes. The first part is yes. You feel nature does reflect
Festival.
our.
Yeah,
I'm not
yes.
with respect to festival. In general, I'm saying whatever activities humans do you think nature responds to us accordingly?
Yeah, I think yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you feel any connections? Can you give me some example?
yeah. For example, Prabhu, as per my understanding, I feel that if I'm doing something wrong to other, so maybe at the present time or in the future or somewhere, sometimes it will reflect to me the same thing. Whatever I did with the wrong to other, so this will happen with me also in the future. So I
Yes.
think that is the as per my understanding.
Very nice. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Mayank. Anyone else would like to talk on this? Uh, Nishant?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello.
Nishant. Yes, please.
Hey, I just joined the talk actually. I was a bit late, so
Okay,
yeah,
no problem. This
yeah.
is not connected with what we discussed so far. It's just like, do you feel that whatever activities we do, nature responds to us accordingly?
See, there will be some response,
Hmm.
but see, it's just my opinion, okay? But
Yes,
I
please.
wouldn't consider that response as a conscious response.
Okay.
For instance, example, what I can think of is, let's say I have a friend of mine.
Hmm.
Let's say we are having some kind of an interaction. Let's say I'm doing some help to him.
Okay.
So his response towards this help is a conscious response because he has a choice.
Okay.
You know, he has a choice of whether to respond in a positive
Responsibly.
way, a
Yeah.
neutral way, or a negative way.
Yes.
There is this notion of choice.
Correct.
In the case of nature, at least I am not sure if there is this notion of choice. There may be
Okay.
some causal relationship, you know,
Yes.
like for instance, let's say you're polluting a river, it's
Yeah.
inevitable that you're going to end up having unsafe water to drink. This
Correct.
is a causal relationship, and there is certainly a relationship. But the question is, I mean, I'm not sure if I can attribute the notion of choice to the, uh, the relationship. That is all.
Okay. Wonderful. Very nice. Thank you. So But there is some connection between what we do and how nature responds. That's what he was saying. That's what you were
Mm.
feeling, right? Yes. So I was just talking till now, Nishant, about
Yeah.
how nature celebrated Lord Krishna's appearance when he appeared 5,000 years ago in Dwapar Yuga.
Mm.
So there we saw that there were auspicious symptoms or signs visible everywhere,
Mm.
like
Mm. Mm.
rivers flowing with full water and lakes filled with beautiful lotus flowers and
Mm.
birds, especially birds enjoying, they were singing, and peacocks dancing and all of those things. So I was
Mm.
just
Mm.
trying to say that, you know, all the fear that was created by King Kamsa in the minds of people
Ah.
vanished. It vanished. And at that moment when Lord Krishna appeared, there was some positivity which was spread throughout the world. That's what we were
Mm.
talking.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Now, why I am asking this question, whether nature reflects human activities or not? You see, um, what happens whenever we do some activity, we are also part of this entire universal setup. We are an amsha, we are a part of it.
Mm.
Our activities, as you said, directly you may not be able to see a direct correlation between what we do and what happens in the universe, but
Mm.
somewhere our activities are contributing to something in the universe.
Yeah. Agreed.
Isn't it? So
Agreed. Totally agreed on that one.
yes. So therefore, I was talking about this, that when Lord Krishna, generally we think that, okay, such descriptions from the Vedic scriptures, they seem to be little a fairy tale kind of thing. Oh, when Krishna appeared, all of a sudden there was happiness. Oh, everybody became overjoyed. Everybody became, fearless. How is it possible, right? When I'm
Yeah.
saying a small person like, a small human being like us, when we do something, there is a reflection of our activity in the entire universe. Then what to speak of a very supreme, a very great personality when he appears? Therefore, definitely there will be its own effects in the universe. So that's what I
Mm.
was talking about. Okay, so I think with this we end today's discussion. Anyone has any questions, any comments to make based on what we discussed today? Another aspect that we were discussing in the beginning is, all our most of our Vedic festivals, Indian festivals, are all centered around nature. How we feel grateful to nature for whatever we have received from nature. And I want to tell you one more thing. During this season is called Shravana or Savan. In North, they call it Savan, Shravana. So during this time, there is a festival. You must be aware, especially in North India, we have uh, a lot of people, especially in the rural areas, they make swings. They enjoy this swing festival. They make swings, and they go to the forest. They go to some farms or forest areas and make a swing, and they enjoy the cool breeze of the season. There
Mm.
are many medical benefits also that people get by swinging, coordination of the hands and legs and being alert and all of that. So there are many such festivals actually. And in fact, in Vrindavan, which is actually the place where Lord Krishna performed various leelas 5,000 years ago when he appeared, during the season they celebrate Jhulan Utsav. 5 days they celebrate this festival of swing festival, where the deity of Krishna along with Radha are swung gently on a swing, and that's called Jhulan Utsav. That's celebrated even today to remember some interesting incidents that happened in Krishna's life. So, so anyone wants to make a point? Anyone wants to ask questions or comments you want to make? before we close the session.
Sir, I have a question in a sense like, do you think that this COVID situation itself is a way of nature reflecting to our activities?
Sai Krishna, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, Sai Krishna?
What, sir?
What's your opinion?
Uh, I think so, yes, sir, but I don't know how it's connected, but still, I feel it's connected.
You're right, actually. We cannot think that all these things are coincidental. At least according to the Vedic understanding, yes, nothing happens in this world without a reason. There is a reason behind everything. Now, as Nishant said, you cannot directly find out a one-to-one correlation. So because of this happened. You cannot actually correlate in that way. But by and large, whenever sinful activities of people increase, whenever man performs activities which go against nature, which go against the design of this world, which go against the purpose of his existence, those activities are called sins. Sin is not some taboo, sin, oh, I don't believe in papa punya, it's not about. Sin means any activity which goes against the design of nature, which goes against the purpose of your existence. That's called sin. When sins increase, then nature has its way of putting back the reaction. For every action, there has to be a reaction. So when we meddle so much with nature, definitely nature will boomerang. It will come back to us. It could be in the form of war, pestilence, famine, such kind of epidemics and pandemics. Yes, the Bhagavatam says that these are reflections of human activities, right? As long as, a great, I don't remember the thinker, a philosopher, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. He said, uh, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. I think this statement is so very meaningful. And, we want peace, but we don't bother, killing others, even if it is a insignificant animal for that matter. We think they are insignificant compared to us. We think that we are so, we have the power, intelligence to rule this world. That pride itself actually brings in a lot of negativity into the system. So even if we cause a harm to a small insect, a small ant, we have to pay for it. There is no doubt about it. That's how it is. So just because we have advanced intelligence, we cannot just meddle with nature however we want. We will have to face the severe consequences. Hope that answers your question, Sai Kishore.
Definitely, it answered me. Sir, can I ask one more, sir? One small question. Like you said about Rohini Nachatra and its auspiciousness, Krishna being born during that time. Why do you consider Rohini Nachatra as auspicious? Is it because Krishna was born at that time, or naturally it is like?
Yeah. See, one is Krishna himself is all auspicious. When he appears, definitely, it's a sign of great auspiciousness. Rohini is supposed to be the most auspicious among all the constellations. Rohini Nakshatra, because it is said in the scripture that it is directly under the control of Lord Brahma, who is the engineer of this universe. Therefore, under the influence of Rohini Nakshatra, Krishna appeared. Now it doesn't matter because Krishna is absolutely good. Absolute good. There is difference between relative goodness and absolute goodness. What do you mean when we say God is good? What do you mean by that? When I say a person in this world is good, what do you mean by that? A person in this world being good depends on circumstances, depends on people's opinions about his actions. But God is not like that. God is absolutely good. For example, even the demons who were killed by Krishna, they attained moksha or liberation. It's not that only the devotees who glorified him got something good, and the demons who were killed by Krishna, they all suffered. No. Even they got liberated. Anybody who comes in touch with God, he attains only good things. Therefore, he's called absolutely good. Now, Rohini Nakshatra became glorified by the appearance of Krishna at that moment. You can say that. Rohini Nakshatra's goodness, auspiciousness increased even more because Krishna chose to appear during that particular time. So it's just like that. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else wants to make a point or ask something before we close now? Shall we close?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, may I know your name,
Hello.
please?
This is Mayank.
Yes, Mayank.
Hello, am I yeah. So as you mentioned, the Krishna himself is auspicious, right? So that's why when he is born, all the things becomes auspicious. So my question is like when he was there also. So at all the time it should be auspicious, right? The thing should be good all the times. So why isn't it so?
Okay. Maybe you're referring to the evil forces which were prevalent even when Krishna was present on this planet, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say that way, or yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Good question. Now you see, this material world, there are two worlds actually. The world in which we are living currently is called material world. This material world is also called a world of duality. Duality means like there is heat, there is cold, there is happiness, there is distress, there is good and there is bad. That is the nature of this world because that is where a person has full choice. God gives everyone full choice of freedom to choose what he wants, right? God has given us independence, minute independence, and God does not meddle with our minute independence. Okay. So this material world being a world of duality, it gives both you, it gives you options. You want this or you want that. You can choose. And based on your choice, there are certain consequences. Like for example, a student is there, let's say he has exam. Now he has a choice. Should I prepare for the exam or should I simply do something else? Should I just go and play? Now both choices are there, and the student has power to choose among these two. If the student chooses to study, there is one consequence. If the student chooses to play during the exam time, there is another consequence.
Yeah.
So, from time immemorial, that is how this world is. There are people who are on the side of goodness. There are also people who are on the side of the other side. Now, uh, Krishna appeared to create auspiciousness in this world, no doubt. But at the same time, Krishna does so by giving value to everybody's free will. Krishna doesn't meddle with your independence, right? Now,
Okay. Does it mean he is not even playing the independence of with the independence of demons also?
no, demons are choosing that I want to act in this way only. So God gives them freedom. Okay, you have the
Right.
choice to do that,
Yeah.
but there are
Right.
consequences. You have to face it.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
So that is the beauty of this. In the Bhagavad Gita, also this point comes out very nicely. Uh, First of all, many people ask this question. Krishna should have spoken Bhagavad Gita to Duryodhana and changed his mind, then the battle of Kurukshetra only wouldn't have happened. Many people come up with this question. But the point is, Duryodhana was not ready to listen to. When Krishna went to the court of Duryodhana as a chief messenger, Duryodhana was not ready to even listen to what Krishna was trying to say out of his arrogance. And how did teaching of Bhagavad Gita. That is point number one. Point number two is, after instructing the entire knowledge to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna gives an ultimatum, gives a choice. He gives a choice to Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, whatever I had to speak, I have spoken. Now, yathechasi tatha kuru. Do as you wish. Now you act according to your desire. Krishna did not force Arjuna to act in a certain way. That is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Compared to all the other scriptures of the world, more or less the other scriptures are like impositions. They are like mandates. They say that these are the words of God and you have to follow it. There is no other way. But unlike that, the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is something very different. Krishna recognizes and he recognizes everybody's freedom, right? And he says, I have told you whatever I need to tell. Now you make yes. By following Krishna's instructions, we attain real auspiciousness. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, yes.
Today, if we want to invoke auspiciousness in our life, we have to simply follow the instructions given by Lord Krishna. Then all auspiciousness. Krishna is right there in his instructions. We can associate with the Bhagavad Gita. We can chant his holy names and associate with him directly. And immediately we will be in a situation of complete auspiciousness. Thank you for asking that question. And thank you all of you for giving your valuable time and being part of the session. So I hand over to Santosh. He has a couple of announcements to make. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.